Good morning. Well, welcome to another week of weather. It's been a very mild weekend. Of course, we've seen temperatures as high as 15 Celsius yesterday across parts of Easter Ross and along the Moray Firth. 15 degrees, not unusual, not unheard of for December, but it's certainly something we don't see every day. We've got to go back a few years to see the highest ever temperature recorded in the UK and Scotland in December was just shy of 19 degrees in Achfarry, northwest Sutherland a few years ago. So it's the 15 degrees. Yeah, it's pretty mild, and a lot of us felt mild, but it's certainly nowhere near the record, which, like I say, was 19 degrees. Quite unusual, in fact, very unusual, record breaking a few years ago. And that actually occurred overnight as well across northwest Sutherland. We saw very, very warm air mass get dragged up from the Canaries, involved with a weather system and rain and wind, etc. But it was very, very mild there, which came in, which gave the record temperatures. So anyway, back to the here and now. We've got obviously the run up to Christmas now. Everyone's asking me what's happening for Christmas. I've had so many people messaging me. I've had people asking me in the pub, in the street, even in Tesco's, what's how's the weather looking for Christmas? Are we going to see any snow? Well, it's a really, really tricky situation. And the thing is, it's a time of year when so many people wanted to know what the weather's going to be like, traveling around, holidaying, seeing family, or just want to see snow on Christmas Day. And unfortunately, it's looking like a real forecasting headache as we go towards the end of the week. We get these situations in the UK quite often at this time of year where we have a battleground situation between very mild air from the Atlantic, like we saw this weekend, and much colder air to the north across the Arctic trying to get south. And this weekend is no exception. It's going to be a classic setup of a battleground situation between the mild air to the south trying to move north, the cold air to the north trying to move south. So we end up with the UK sliced in half. And that boundary looks like being somewhere through Scotland, just to create even more headaches for forecasters like myself, because it's going to mean a difference between mild, wet, and windy weather and potentially cold and quite snowy weather for some people. And I think whichever air mass eventually wins out will stay with us for Christmas. And at this moment in time, the various computer models are favouring a colder air mass to win out over the weekend in towards a Christmas period. So potentially, for some of us, it could be a white Christmas. I'm not saying for certain, I'm not saying where. It's absolutely impossible at this point to say if, when, and how much snow will fall at Christmas. People try and do it. People guess. Let's face it. If you guess, you got 50% chance of being right, haven't you? But I'd rather look at the detail and give you an accurate forecast of how I think things are going to look. And at this moment in time, it's just pretty much impossible to say exactly what's going to happen. One thing I can say, as I say, there's going to be a real battleground situation between the cold and the warm air masses end of this week and in towards Christmas. So what we'll do now is, as always, I'll just share some information with you. We can look at the detail of what's happening. So this is the air mass across the UK right now. We're still in the very mild air mass, as you can see. Winds are coming in from the southwest, bringing in this really mild, quite cloudy air mass. It's a fairly cloudy start for many. There's bits and pieces of light rain and drizzle around. Nothing really heavy. Some places are dry, but many places quite damp this morning with these bits and pieces of rain associated with various weather fronts crossing the country. Now, if you just look to the north, you'll see this colder air mass. It's not particularly cold. It's more like average, really, temperatures to the north of us. And what's going to happen over the next few days is this is going to start moving south. You can see that's the situation at noon today. You can see the colder air just started to edge its way into the northwest. Now, there'll be a cold front up along this boundary line, so we'll see rain moving into the Western Isles and the far northwest around about noon or just after noon. And then as we go through the afternoon, that edges further south, reaches about the Great Glen Inverness down to Port William across the Northern Isles, probably by about 4 o'clock this afternoon. And then overnight, the cold front moves southwards, and you can see then we're all into this cooler air. It's not particularly cold, as I say, it's just cooler. These blue colours indicate temperatures around about sort of average for the time of year. This is the upper air mass across the UK. This is a temperature about 1.5 miles above the surface, and it's really where we look to see what kind of weather we can expect from a temperature perspective and what type of precipitation. So if we go into tomorrow, you can see we've got this colder air mass coming south across the country, spreading down across just about everywhere really by the end of tomorrow. But what we'll notice tomorrow is the isobars quite closely packed together. So it's going to be a really windy day tomorrow. There'll be strong northwesterly winds, gales around the north and northwest coast, and we'll see quite a number of showers as well. And it's areas exposed to the northwest which will see the most of the showers. So we're looking at western coasts, the north and west Highlands, so north and west of the Great Glen, seeing quite frequent showers across the Isles, the Northern Isles too, and quite a few showers will be clipping the northeast part of Aberdeenshire as they run down the North Sea. So it's areas further to the north and the west, really, and the far northeast seeing the most frequent of the showers tomorrow. Again, some will be heavy, there'll be hail. There's even a risk of a rumble of thunder, I think, across some of the western and northern coastal areas. And as the air's colder, the showers will be a bit wintry over the hills, but certainly nothing of any significance wintry weather-wise over the next few days. And then as we go into Wednesday, we start to see a bit of a change. You notice these green colours coming back in. There's a large area of high pressure sat in the Atlantic, 1,050 millibars, got quite a big high as that. And the winds are rotating around the high in this kind of direction. So you can see we've got this mild air being dragged from the Canaries up into the mid-Atlantic, back around the top, and then back into the UK. So Wednesday's milder, but it's going to be a really cloudy, quite a wet day on Wednesday. There'll be outbreaks of rain moving west to east across the country, some quite heavy rain in the morning. That then moves away, and we're left with a sort of drizzly, damp day across the west, whereas further east, it turns a bit drier in the afternoon on Wednesday with maybe one or two brighter spells, but generally fairly cloudy. And then as we go into Wednesday night into early Thursday, we start to pick up some heavier rain in across the west. Now, if I just change the chart just to show you just what's happening here in Scotland as we go through the middle part of the week. So that's the situation on Wednesday. Like I say, we've got these outbreaks of rain moving through the course of the morning. As you can see, it's quite a damp start for many. And then as we go into the afternoon, the rain becomes mainly restricted to the west, as you can see, with something a bit drier further towards the east. Still quite cloudy, still some spots of rain and drizzle, but the sort of more persistent rain will be across the west. And again, a strong northwesterly wind. You can see the isobars quite closely packed together, so quite a windy day on Wednesday, but it will be a little bit milder. We'll see some of these western areas probably reach 10 or 11 degrees again, but still pretty chilly further east, maybe sort of 7 or 8 degrees here. And then as we go into Wednesday night to Thursday, you can see we start to see some heavier rain start to develop across the west. Look, as we go overnight into the early part of Thursday, it turns really quite wet, as you can see, across the many western areas. And of course, we've had a lot of rain over the weekend across parts of Westeros, Skye, Lochhouse, Locharbor, got real soaking over the weekend, over 150 millimetres in places. So all this rain falling onto these very wet surfaces is not ideal. I think there could be some localised flooding perhaps into the early part of Thursday. As you can see, the isobars are close together. It's going to be very windy overnight, Wednesday into Thursday, but generally quite mild with over cloud and rain. So no temperature issues to contend with. Then as we go into Thursday morning, you can see this rain band sinks southwards. And as that sinks southwards, it starts to pull in a much colder air mass from the northwest. So if I just change the chart back to show you the air masses, you can see this is what happens as we go into Thursday. There we go, Thursday. You can see this air mass, it turning quite a bit colder coming down from the northeast. Pinks are obviously very cold, but you'll see we're just starting to pull in quite a bit colder conditions as we go into Thursday, looking into Friday. But just notice to the southwest, this mild air is still here, and it's so close. It's a real battleground situation, this between these mild air, which you're going to try and push in. We've got this increasingly cold air spreading down at the end of the week, so it's going to be a very windy couple of days. Certainly on Thursday, this deep area of low pressure sat to the northeast of Shetland is going to bring gales or severe gale force northwesterly winds. I suspect the Northern Isles, the north and northwest coast, Skye, the Hebrides, seen some really quite stormy conditions for a time through Thursday, with wind speeds probably 70, maybe 75 miles an hour in exposure. So it's going to be a problem, I think, with ferry crossings. So I think if you're planning a ferry, the North Link ferries may be affected. The Calmac crossings across the Western Isles could well be affected. So I think if you're planning a ferry journey later in the week, keep a close eye, because I do suspect there will be some problems with restrictions due to the strong winds at the end of the week. Also, as well, with the strength of the wind, some delays and restrictions on bridges, perhaps Donut Bridge, Keswick Bridge, Skye Bridge, potentially the Tay Road Bridge, all at risk of disruption through Thursday due to this very deep area of low pressure and these strong gale force northwesterly winds, as I say, severe gales in exposure. There'll be plenty of showers as well coming south on that northwesterly wind. The showers again exposed to the north and the northwest, seeing the most of the showers as western coasts towards the Northern Isles, and just generally further north and west, the showers will be more frequent. And because the air is colder, the showers will be turning increasingly wintry, I suspect. Initially over the higher ground, but I think as we get into sort of Friday, that really cold air starts to dig further southwards. The showers will be quite wintry, I suspect, to quite low levels across the Highlands, Moray, Aberdeenshire, the Northern Isles as well. You can see this really cold air just heading into Shetland. So I think the showers will definitely be of a wintry flavour across the Northern Isles. And as I say, increasingly to lower levels further north. Now, further south and east, the showers will be fewer and lighter. And if I just bring you up the chart just for Scotland, just so I can explain exactly why that happens. So we've got all the showers on Thursday and Friday coming down from the northwest. So you can see it's areas further east and south. It's the high ground basically blocks the showers. The showers are piling down from the northwest. As you can see, really quite frequent further north and west. There's nothing to stop them. But as they hit the Cairngorms, they lose their intensity. So it's eastern parts of Aberdeenshire, look down into Angus, down into Perthshire, down towards Stirling, Fife, the central belt, and areas to the south and east. You can see far fewer showers because of that shelter from the northwesterly wind. But I think as we go into later on Friday, into Friday night, you can see the showers, if anything, become more frequent. So I think Friday afternoon into Friday night, maybe early Saturday, chance of some light snow, I think, on some of the higher ground from the sort of Perthshire Hills northwards, and certainly across the Northern Isles. In that colder air, the showers will be falling more of snow. Now, as we go further into the weekend, I'll just explain what's happening with the air masses, because we talked about this battle of the air masses. You can see this is what happens. This is the situation on Friday. As I say, we're all in the cold air. But then as we go into the weekend, we just start to see this battle start to develop, whereas we've got this cold air flooding down from the north, right down across Scotland. You can see down to the north of England, into much of Europe. But just notice these much milder conditions out in the Atlantic, just trying to edge in. Now, this is an area of high pressure here. The jet stream is running something like this. That's the position of the jet stream, running like that. But you can see we're on the north side of the jet. So the colder air is in place on Saturday. And as this milder conditions just try to nudge in and they meet the colder air, that means a chance of some wintry precipitation, as in snow. But this is one computer model. If you look at the other computer models, now this is a GFS, a completely different situation. Now they're thinking on Saturday, look, the mild air gets in, it pushes the cold air away, and we're all in the mild air, so that's rain. So that Saturday is rain according to the GFS. So this is the difference. That's one computer model. As you can see, the mild air is here on the ECMWF model. It's showing the mild air here, just trying to edge in. But on that boundary line there, there's a chance we would see some snow if this model was to verify. But like I say, the GFS is having none of it. It pushes the cold air away, and we're all in these milder conditions for Saturday. So you can see what I mean about how it's so difficult just to get this, this forecast bang on. But then as you look on Christmas Eve, look, the GFS then brings this cold air back southwards again. So it's only a very brief nose of milder air that comes in, according to the GFS model, which would bring rain, strong winds across the country on Saturday, followed by a much colder air for Christmas Eve. Look at cold northerly wind. There'll be plenty of wintry showers coming down from the north on this. And as you can see, even into Christmas Day, look, we've got a very cold wind. So according to the GFS, they're going for a white Christmas for quite a large part of Scotland, particularly further north. In the Highlands, Moray, Aberdeenshire, good chance of seeing a white Christmas. Further south, less so, but still, any showers that do fall will be of a wintry nature, 24th, 25th, according to the GFS. Now, if you look back to the ECMWF, they too keep the cold air in place. That's the Christmas Eve chart. Look, cold northerly winds, wintry showers coming southwards. And then on Christmas Day, we're still in the cold air. Just a bit of a sign of something, a bit milder coming in from the west. Probably a weather front here. I'll be bringing some rain eastwards, probably followed with snow ahead of it. Any fronts that come into this cold air will be falling as snow first, followed by rain as we see this milder air, you can see, come back in. So it's a real difficult one. That's the chart for Boxing Day from the GFS. They push the cold air out the way, look, and bring this wedge of milder air in associated with an area of low pressure, and then bring the cold air back southwards again. So you can see it's a real difficult one. We've got all this very cold air to the north. We've got the jet stream running just a little bit further south than normal, which always is something which would favour the colder conditions just to get south. We've got a lot of mild air to the south, so it's a real tricky one of what's going to happen really over the Christmas period. Are we going to see the snow, or is the mild air going to win out? But it's certainly at this moment in time, there's there's pretty good agreement in the computer models that Christmas Eve, Christmas Day are looking pretty cold. I think there will be some snow around for some of us, so maybe we'll just see a white Christmas. Who knows? I'll keep you updated as we go through the rest of the week. Okay, well, thanks for watching the videos, as always. All the people who have subscribed to the YouTube channel, thanks for that. You can keep liking, commenting on the videos, and hit subscribe on YouTube. It doesn't cost you anything. Just like following my YouTube channel where you can see the videos. Okay, well, thanks for watching. As I say, enjoy the rest of your week. Bye for now.